Welcome in, along with Mike Renner. I'm Steve Palazzolo, and this is your Pittsburgh Steelers NFL Draft Recap, all powered by PFF Edge and Elite. All right, one of the biggest stories of the first round, the Steelers trade up from 20 to 10 to go get Devon Bush, a massive need on the roster. There's always some inherent risk when you move up, but they got a player that's going to fit in that Pittsburgh scheme.
Yeah, he wasn't going to make it there. 220, obviously the Bengals were in need of a linebacker. Hop the division rival to go get your guy. I don't hate the move. We usually don't love trading up for players, but there was not another linebacker in this draft class that could come close to providing what Devon Bush brings to the table. And in that Steelers defense, in that zone-heavy defense, that is legitimately a valuable position. Maybe the most valuable position is that linebacker there, middle of the field linebacker, the Devon Bush, the role that Ryan Shazier used to play in that defense. Once he went out, you saw just how much the Steelers defense crumbled without it. You need a guy who can cover ground, make plays in front of them, and wrap up on ball carriers. That is Devon Bush to a T.
Yeah, we liked all three of their first picks. Again, the only question is when you do trade up and you give up a second rounder, Devon Bush has to have the value of two players, essentially. So you like to use the term position scarcity. That drop off at linebacker, that was a big factor there.
Yes.
And jumping the Bengals, also a big factor. Something to watch in the AFC North. There are two third-rounders, though, two of our favorite picks of the entire draft. Deante Johnson out of Toledo, the wide receiver. Justin Lane, cornerback out of Michigan State. When you talk about scheme fit, usage fit, both of these guys, it works for them in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Deante Johnson pick, I couldn't believe it when I heard it was the Steelers that ended up selecting him, because we were saying throughout the process, man, there is some Antonio Brown to his game. He is just a special player with the football in his hands, one of the best route runners in this entire class, led the nation in punt return average over the last 2 seasons. He is just dynamic, and watching him and then seeing his testing numbers at the combine where he just did not test like a freak athlete, whereas on the field he looks like one. Reminded me of Antonio Brown just in that regard. And so they get their guy that they said they had a first-round valuation on, and I can see why with all that we saw on tape in the testing.
It was timely. I got to do a little radio interview in Pittsburgh right before day 2, and I said, oh yeah, a little Antonio Brown comp on Deante Johnson. Keep an eye on him, and there he goes. So he might not have that type of production, but even as just a compliment to what Juju brings on the other side, and maybe James Washington as he develops as a down-the-field threat, I like the way Pittsburgh's building that receiving core. And then Justin Lane, the cornerback out of Michigan State, we kept using the term zone corner for him. It's just because he's got this length and good feel for playing zone, which I still think, even though the Steelers played the 7th most man coverage in the league last year, at their heart, they're a zone-heavy D.
Yeah, and he is just an explosive, short area quickness type of guy, can make breaks on balls and get his hands on a lot of balls with his size there. A much better fit for what they like to do than some of their corners they've drafted in the past, and especially a guy like Artie Burns. So like that in the 3rd round, we had as more of a second-round type of guy.
What about on day 3 as far as picks that stood out to you? One of our best players as far as production goes, Sutton Smith out of Northern Illinois. Very undersized, but I like him in the 6th.
Yeah, Sutton Smith's going to be fun to watch. I think he's going to probably move to off-ball linebacker there, but they're coveting him because he can blitz. I mean, as a blitzer, what he brings to the table, I think could be above average for an off-ball linebacker. You're going to have to teach him how to play because he was an edge at Northern Illinois. You're going to have to teach him the nuances of the linebacker position, but 3rd downs, blitz package kind of guy, I think he could see the field there earlier rather than later.
Isaiah Buggs, like your classic Steelers 3-4 defensive end with his size and length, and I would keep an eye on Derwin Gray, tackle out of Maryland. Just some of our numbers just pointed toward him being a decent player, and you can't ask for anything else besides that in rounds 6 and 7. So overall, really like the Pittsburgh Steelers draft. Those first 3 picks have a chance to be a huge home run. It's your Pittsburgh Steelers NFL Draft Profile, all powered by PFF Edge and Elite.